Today we are starting the first batch of the different types of processing metals, and I will start with the joining techniques, and then next week or in the weeks to come, we will do the other types of metal processing. So the joining techniques. If this was a face-to-face lecture, this would be where I would be taking a break or taking a pause to get the feel of everyone's understanding in terms of the importance of joining. One of the first reasons I have is that sometimes the products are too large to be made by individual processes. In that case, joining becomes a necessity. The importance of joining is that it makes it easy and more economical to manufacture and join individual components. A typical example of this would be if you were to think of a cooking pot, for instance. The application requirements of a cooking pot is that it has to conduct heat, so you can heat the contents, but then you have to be able to hold it. So it has to have two different material or two different properties to allow you to heat the contents and to allow you to hold it. And then the handles will be made by a different process or a different material to cater for that. So hopefully that makes sense. But another reason where joining is important would be in products which will need to be disassembled for maintenance. So these are like typical things. You're making a product with the intention that at the latest stage there has to be some maintenance done to it. In terms of joining techniques, there is a wide range of these techniques, but I have grouped them as follows to sort of summarize them. There are metallurgical ones, which are the ones that involve the process of diffusion, meaning elements of one metal diffusing into the other. Usually the metallurgical ones are referred to as the hot joining techniques, unlike the mechanical ones, which are sometimes called the cold joining techniques. They do not involve any sort of diffusion. Then there are also adhesives. So in all these types of joining techniques, some of them can be permanent while others are non-permanent. And then these are all permanent. The metallurgical one, the permanent joining techniques. The mechanical ones, some are non-permanent, others are permanent. And then the adhesives are obviously all permanent. Then I put together a few images just to familiarize you guys with, in case you don't know, but assuming that you know, this is just for emphasis. Pop rivets, this would be the typical tools that you use for pop rivets. And then I have a link on YouTube here that you guys can watch, and it guides you on how pop rivets work. And like I said in the previous slide, this is a permanent joining process, and it is usually used to join sheet metals. Similarly, I have an example of a soldering one with the link that you guys can watch there, and just to familiarize yourself with the technique and brazing as well, the important tools that you need, and the link as well. Then in terms of welding, there are different types of welding, as we'll see just now, but basically you have two pieces of metals and having a localized heat source that you use to join the two pieces. There are different ways of doing this, and these are the different types of welding: fusion welding types, and then the solid state welding. And then in in terms of the joints, the typical walled joints that you will get, it will be a butt joint, a corner joint, a lip joint, a T joint, and an edge joint. Those are the common types of walls, and then there are two links here related to this type to welding that you guys can watch. So in summary, the method used to join metals will depend on what your intentions are. But the important thing to mention here is the type of joint one chooses will depend or will be guided by the intentions that you have with that particular joint, being the functionality and then the strength that you need there and the quality at the end. And this brings us to the end of this joining techniques, linking us to the assignment that I'm going to give you guys in relation to this. Okay, guys, so this is the brief in relation to the short introduction that I just gave you on the joining techniques. The brief is specifically on cold joining techniques. It is due on the 8th August, which is next week, Monday. And just to take you through what I think maybe needs some clarity, the objectives are straightforward, and the report. So what you have to do is to find out what the different cold joining techniques look like. So this is a research assignment, and you have to choose 4 joints that you want to focus on, no adhesives, and then you draw a line drawing of these joints, and this is a typical isometric drawing. Then in terms of research or what would be required in the document that you have to submit would be a line, a name of the joint, the line drawing of that joint, and the drawing has to be roughly an A5 size on the A4 page, and the uses or applications of that particular joint. Then you have to, obviously because you have to research, you have to have some references, and this need to be right at the back for all the joints. Combine the reference list right at the back, I think, as per normal. So what you have to hand in, it will be a typed report, and you will have roughly one joining technique per A4, which is made up of this requirements here, and in total there will be 4 A4s because you have 4 joints, and then there will be a page for references at the end. So it is due 8th August, latest midnight. I am available if you guys need me to clarify anything on this brief, and in addition to this, I have attached the PDF file of this so you can download it if you need to. Alright, cheers guys.